Hello everyone, Kirk Kreifels bringing you the Mazda 3 Turbo Hatchback for a quick review today. So it's a gorgeous hatchback, the sportier hatchback, the way to go over the more normal looking sedan? Let's find out. Now this is my first quick review, and the reason is because I just reviewed the Mazda 3 Turbo Sedan less than a few months ago. So this vehicle is very familiar to me, and I want to give you guys new driving impressions and new impressions of this hatchback. And the big reason why is that when I had the Mazda 3 Turbo Sedan, I was stuck in frozen Nebraska. Now, as you can tell, I'm in a much sunnier place, sunny Southwest Florida, and the roads here are perfect. I can actually test this car, what it was designed for, which this is a turbo model, has all-wheel drive. It is definitely performance looking. So let's start with the looks. And the looks of this vehicle are so much different than the more incognito, the more sleeper turbo sedan. Turbo sedan looks almost identical to the normal Mazda 3 sedan. This vehicle does not look that much like the hatchback. Not only does the hatchback, in my opinion, look better in the non-turbo mode, here in the turbo mode, the turbo model with the Premium Plus with the optional appearance package, this thing is gorgeous. You got an extra front air dam, painted glossy black plastic at the bottom of the grille, which I prefer. That's something I did not enjoy on the Mazda 3 Turbo Sedan with all the chrome on it. It just left a sour taste in my mouth. And on the back, how could you overlook the gorgeous spoiler? That thing, it so kind of reminds me of like the old Mitsubishi Eclipses with the for some reason remind me of like the Free Willy spoiler, you know, 90s kids references, but it just has a nice curve to it. It looks really cool, almost a little boomerang-ish, but I can't stop looking at that rear spoiler when I'm outside of the car. It looks great. Then at the bottom, you have an added rear diffuser. So that appearance package or aero kit, whatever you want to call it, only adds about $1,000 to the price on this vehicle, and I think that's a no-brainer. If you're definitely getting the hatchback, if you're getting the sedan, you don't have the option to make it look any cooler. So now the interior, I believe this hatchback is the only way you can get the red interior, which looks so good. It reminds me of the Mazda Miata MX-5 that I test drove, not that long ago, last summer. Gorgeous interior in that car, no different to the gorgeous red leather interior here in this Premium Plus hatchback. And before we get into driving impressions, I want to talk about more on the interior and mainly the infotainment. I still don't like it. It's hard for me to get used to. Really, what I've done is preset my radio stations, and I just keep it. There's a button on here, a star button down here by the volume knob for favorites. So I just keep the screen in my favorites, so it's easier to select the presets and the stations that I like. It's not ideal, but it's just what you got to do because the screen is just not easy to work with. Infotainment's not that easy to work with. Luckily, this has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so it's capable. It's just no touchscreen can make it a little bit difficult with the learning curve. And I do love the interior overall. It's very minimalistic, and materials are great. Fit and finish is phenomenal. I love the overall design, and there's really nothing much to complain about other than the rotary dial and the infotainment system. But for full interior impressions, make sure to check out my full review on the Mazda 3 Turbo Sedan because it's virtually identical to what we have in here. The only difference is going to be the hatch capabilities. So you go from about 13 cubic feet of trunk space to about 20 cubic feet of space here in the hatchback. Both vehicles allow you to fold down the seat, so you have that versatility, but the hatch is going to give you a little bit more full cargo space when the seats are fold down at 47 cubic feet of space. So definitely the versatility and the looks, in my opinion, go to the hatchback. Now, just like the Mazda 3 Sedan Turbo, this has the same 2.5 liter turbocharged Skyactiv G engine, which Mazda's putting in just about all of their vehicles that they possibly can. So make sure to smash the like button if you like Mazda sticking turbochargers in pretty much all of their cars at this point. So it has 250 horsepower up to if you put 93 octane in it, and 320 pound-feet of torque, again up to if you put the premium fuel in it. The torque is what this engine's all about. ringing it out to high RPMs is not what the car wants you to do anyways. It'll short shift is what it seems like at 55 RPM if you just leave it in sport mode. And then if you want to ring it out a little bit more, you can actually do it using the paddle shifters, but it's an automatic. I'm not going to use the paddle shifters. It'll probably, there's a reason it's short shifting itself, because it loses its peak horsepower after 5,500 RPM. And where this engine shows its greatest attributes, which is the torque, is going to be on the highway, in my opinion, when you're passing people. And of course the transmission's adequate enough, and I really love how this transmission allows you to feel the difference in shifts. It's almost like a manual transmission when it clings to the next gear. So I'm going to put it down. Yeah, so there's just always that satisfying little blip, little hesitation between gears that almost makes you feel like somebody's in the car shifting the gears for you, but that's just the automatic transmission. Hopefully you guys understand what I'm saying. You get a little bit of delay in acceleration, and then it throws you back into your seat again. So I love that sensation that it feels like a manual transmission here in this automatic, in this turbo hatchback. And I'm finally in an environment where I can enjoy the Mazda 3 Turbo, whether it's this hatchback or sedan. I'm in an environment where I can enjoy it. The roads here are, of course, about as perfect as you can get in today's day and age. Smooth, no potholes, and while I found this vehicle very, very uncomfortable in the pothole-ridden streets of Omaha, yeah, the brakes are good. Oh my gosh, pothole. Oh no. This is just an absolute peach to drive here on the perfect streets down here in South Florida. And I stand by my recommendation. If you live in a nice climate with nice roads, then the Mazda 3 Turbo should definitely be a consideration if you're watching this video. But if you're in the Midwest, definitely test drive it first on bad roads, because it is so tight of a suspension in this vehicle. I'm going to test the brakes a little bit here. No difference in the brakes between a turbo Mazda 3 and a non-turbo Mazda 3, but the bite is good, but not initially. You really have to get into the pedal, and the car does well in stopping. It's just that the brake feel is not my favorite, but it does really, really good job at stopping the vehicle. So the brakes are good. It's just my personal preference. It's not as bitey initially as I like it to be on a sports car. When you accelerate out of turns, the all-wheel drive system puts the power down really, really well. Sometimes it feels a little bit front-wheel drive heavy, but the car always inspires you to really push it. Definitely more than capable that I'm able to push it here out in the streets. A little 0 to 60 here. I did a little bit earlier. I got 6.26 seconds in non-sport mode. So I flipped it into sport mode. We're going to see what the Mazda 3 Turbo hatchback has in store for us. 3, 2, 1, go. A little lethargic on the start. And that's 60. 6.36 seconds in sport mode. That's really down to margin of error compared to what it did just a second ago in non-sport mode. So for the next and last attempt, I'll try brake torquing it, and we'll see what it does in that regard. Last attempt here, 0 to 60. Turning off traction control, we're in sport mode, and I'm going to brake torque it a little bit, and we're just gonna rev it up to 2,000 RPM and go. Okay, that was our best result there, and we'll leave it there. 6.21 seconds to 60, and then 0 to 100 kilometers per hour was 6.58 seconds. Not the most realistic doing a brake torque there, but this is pretty much ideal conditions. It's about 77 degrees outside and straight roads, perfect roads. So that's about as fast as you're probably gonna get the Mazda 3, and I'm at sea level. So that's probably the fastest you're gonna get the Mazda 3 Turbo to 60, which is perfectly fine and more than quick enough for just about everyone out there. So final thoughts on the Mazda 3 Turbo hatchback. To me, I would go for the hatchback, no doubt about it. It is pretty darn expensive. So there are examples out there with this kind of setup that I'm in right now that are going over 36,000 MSRP. The sedan that I was in was about $2 grand less. Doesn't look nearly as cool though. It's definitely more of a gentleman's sport car and more of a sleeper. This is definitely flashy. It's really cool looking in my opinion. And this is the one I would be getting. You just got to plop down a little bit more change for it. Transmission, even though it's a 6-speed, it would be nice to have a little bit more cogs for efficiency, but this will still get you about 30 miles per gallon on the highway. That's pretty darn good if you ask me. And the torque of this engine is really best used when you're on the highways and you need to pass somebody real quickly. Interior, I could freaking live in here, fold down the back seats, take a nap. It is just so cozy. The materials are great, the fit and finish is great, the overall design and the interior is something I could live with for a very, very long time. And lastly, when it comes to ride quality, now that I have perfect roads around me, this thing really doesn't have any major drawbacks. I mean, I could gripe about the infotainment system a little bit, but once I have Android Auto plugged in, I'm not ever really using it. So Mazda, you've done a great job with your Mazda 3 hatchback as well as the sedan. They're both great vehicles. You guys will just have to decide which one fits your needs and your wants and your likes better. Guys, I'll end it there. Thank you so much for watching. If you made this far in the video, if not, smash the like button. It helps me out so much. Subscribe for more Japanese and Korean auto, not only car reviews like this is a little bit shorter one, even though I probably made it extra long, but also subscribe for car news. I do that just about every single day. Guys, I'm gonna end it there. Thank you, Mazda, for hooking me up with the Mazda 3 hatchback. It's been a pleasure. I just love the looks of this car. It gets tons of stairs, lots of head turning. Even the motorcycles that were just past me there were looking at this beautiful hatchback. And guys, have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for your watching. Thank you so much for all your support. Take care of yourselves and peace out. It's weird, there's a Mitsubishi in front of me that says Lexus 5 on the license plate. It's why I love doing spontaneous reviews in the cars with you guys, give you real world impressions of driving.